Very good afternoon, Minister. My name is Keith, currently doing my third year in business administration. My question actually deals with a similar vein as what he earlier mentioned, and deals with the prospect of Polytechnic students in Singapore politics and government. And so do you think that Polytechnic students have the makings of going on to be ministers and politicians?
What is your question behind your question? Are you saying that you have to be that there's an expectation that you must first be a graduate before you go into politics? Is that what you're really driving?
I think many of the politicians today, and if you look at ministers, all are graduates from either local universities or very good foreign universities. I don't think we see many Polytechnic graduates being ministers or being in government. Is that a wall or ceiling that we're looking at?
No, I don't think so. There's no precondition that before you can be a member, before you can stand for election for, let's say, the PAP, you must first be a graduate. Of course, your educational qualifications are looked at because they're an important measure of what a person is capable of. Many poly students, of course, go on to university. I was told by the principal that among you, 2/3 will eventually move on to university to get degrees, maybe more than that. So we should not prejudge, but at the same time, educational qualifications are an important part of your resume. In some countries, like in Taiwan, Taiwan is not officially a country. Maybe one China policy, that has to be very clear here. But in places like Taiwan or Korea, you find many PhDs in the cabinet. And do they therefore become better ministers? In some cases, yes, but not necessarily. What you want in politics are people who have a good sense of people's aspirations, with a good heart, and who are able to get things done. And poly students have a practical bent, many of them. That's why fresh poly graduates earn good salaries. And you will be to the loss of a political party. It can be any political party if it doesn't also recruit from among the polys.
Thank you, Minister. I think that would be very encouraging for our talent development program.
I'm looking for talent.
I see a hand there, please. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm a year 1 student from DHIMB, and there is diploma for human resources psychology. And my question to you will be regarding the upcoming 4th university, which is about to be set up in Singapore. I'm asking if the 4th university will be seen as a second-tier university that's specially targeting the Polytechnic students, while the remaining 3 universities currently in Singapore, namely SMU, NTU, and NUS, will take on the JC students and even some of the the foreign talent. Because there have been proposals to set up the new university in such a way that it's a more practical one, which means that it will more or less target the Polytechnic students. And if that so happens, there might be negative stereotype that the university is more for Polytechnic students, and people might regard it as a second-tier university compared to the current 3.
I think that's a very legitimate fear that you have. That students who can't get into the other universities, some of whom otherwise go overseas, will then find places in the 4th university, resulting in it being a kind of a super polytechnic. And if that's the case, the 4th university will be a failure. I don't believe that will happen. I don't believe that will happen for a few reasons. One is, once you establish a university, you will have a life of its own, and it's going to compete for its place in the sun. when Ngee was established after Singapore Polytechnic, they had a fear too that they'd be a second-class Polytechnic. But they were not going to concede the field to Singapore Polytechnic. Singapore Polytechnic had to fight to maintain its position. And then other polytechnics came on stream. And every new one felt that it would be collecting those at the bottom. In the end, what we have is a healthy situation of polytechnics engaging in fierce competition for students. And even within each polytechnic, different faculties, different departments competing for the best students. I went out to Temasek Polytechnic the other day when they had a recruitment exercise. And the different departments were competing for the best locations in order to advertise their department to prospective students. It was almost like real estate within the open space in the Polytechnic. So we have a fourth university. The planners might have certain ideas of the natural catchments, but I believe once we establish it, and if there are good leaders, good teachers, they will fight to ensure excellence, and the result will be healthy competition. There's a further factor, which is perhaps even more important, which is the fact that we live in a globalized world, and Singapore is becoming an education hub in Asia. There must be tens of thousands of foreign students in Singapore now, and the education industry is one of the fastest growing industries in Singapore. In all schools and polytechnics and universities, there are large numbers of foreign students. Once we're able to tap from a larger catchment, then the quality of students is no longer a problem. If we tap only Singaporeans, in the old days, only the top 5% get to university. Today is 20%. Tomorrow it may be 30%. Then of course, in terms of a natural distribution of IQ, as we take in more students, we are in fact tapping further down the bell curve. But if our bell curve is the whole of Asia, then we can always get very good students, almost without limit. For this reason, we have over the years raised the limit of foreign students in our school populations. And I believe it is now something like 20%. What is it in the Polytechnic? 10%. But my own view is we should raise that limit. Then more foreign students will come in, and their presence in the classroom will spur us to greater effort. I mean, if we are used only to running among ourselves, competing among ourselves, we achieve only a certain level. But when we have others who are even better than we are, competing with us, it gives us incentive to try harder. Because in the end, we're not competing among ourselves. When we produce a product, when we produce a service, we're in fact competing globally. The ideas that were put forth earlier, these are not ideas that are local to Singapore. And many products or services can either be produced here or can be outsourced overseas. You can either bake your cakes here or can import them from overseas. Or they can be semi-baked from overseas and competed in Singapore. So one way or another, directly or indirectly, we are competing internationally. And it's very important that the new university establish itself internationally. When SMU was established, many people thought, that's going to be a third-rate university. Not at all. In fact, SMU students have a certain cut to them because they started later. They wanted to have a different imprint on the students. They brought in American professors. And so even teachers from NTU and NUS recognize that SMU students have a certain quality which they are hoping they can now impart to their own students. The same will happen for the fourth university. Thank you.